Did you like the movie or did you hate it?
I hated this movie.
What? The movie you're making me watch today is The Salton Sea, directed by DJ Caruso, 2002. Apparently Schwartz hated it. Jake, what did you hate it? Or? No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I had some.
I had high hopes for this movie.
I'm in between. At first, I didn't like it, and I almost feel like it's kind of still sinking in a little bit. I'm not totally sure how I feel about this movie.
I pressed pause at the time where I thought to myself, if I wasn't made to watch this movie, what time I would have turned it off, and it was 13 minutes in. I turned it off. It was not.
Why?
Because it was the kind of movie where it has such high caliber of actors, I should say, because the actors were great, but the acting was terrible, which I blame on the shitty script, the dialogue. I had such high hopes for it because of the great cast. I like crime movies, and I like DJ Caruso movies for the most part. I mean, honestly, I liked a lot of his shit, but the characters were not fleshed out at all. I didn't give a fuck about anybody. The twist or two twists were seen. I saw a mile away, and I just didn't give a fuck about Val Kilmer's character. It seemed cheap. It seemed like they had all the ability to make a good movie and they just underachieved. And Val Kilmer's fire tattoo looked like I made it. It was terrible. This was a terrible movie. This might be the worst movie we've watched on this podcast.
Wow. I mean, that's a harsh.
What did you care about in this movie? There's so many good actors, and they're all just underwhelming. Every single person on the screen was underwhelming in what they did.
I agree with the beginning, where I was definitely like, at first thinking like, oh, this is just a basic ass drug movie. Like, it didn't get my attention very early. Honestly, the first time I watched it, I fell asleep probably about a half hour into it.
Yeah, this would have been
30 minutes.
tough.
I fell asleep the first viewing. The second viewing, I fell asleep at the end of it. Then I had to watch it again to make sure I got it all. And then once I got it all, I was kind of like, okay, that was actually not bad. But like at first, I don't know. Can I give you my word at least?
Hold on. Let me just say one thing. I left my phone charging in my bedroom.
I'm not sure I even want to do this podcast.
I left my phone.
I think I'll click off. You guys can just talk about how bad it is. I'll go watch it again.
Because I want to hear why you think it's good.
I do too.
Everything you said, I disagree with. That's what I think. I thought the acting was good. I thought it was entertaining. I thought, yes, I do agree that the twists were pretty telegraphed a little bit, but I don't think it mattered. I thought that the characters were interesting. Everything you say, I just disagree with. So I don't know what else to say. I honestly don't know what to say.
Right,
I don't know what to say about it.
Go with what your word is.
You both just broke my heart. That's what happened.
Go with what your word is, Anthony. What's your word? And then I'll tell you my word.
Man, what's your word, dude?
Greatest movie ever.
I'm gonna go underwhelming.
You could have just said that,
but
not
I wanted
my heart into
Anthony.
two.
As I was watching this movie, I'm thinking to myself, how the fuck is this one of his favorite movies? Like, how is this even possible that this one of his favorite movies? But then I thought to myself, maybe he saw it in 2002 when it came out. He probably liked Val Kilmer.
2008, probably.
Okay, so 2008. That was before we met, so we were young, and we were definitely young. Loved
just
Val
graduated
Kilmer.
high school.
Probably were watching like Tarantino movies, crime movies, and this movie really wants to be that. Doesn't really get to that, and like it's just I get it.
I would put the dialogue.
Like, that was cool.
I would put the dialogue with Tarantino. I would put the dialogue.
Let's not do that.
I would say the dialogue is
Tarantino-esque.
Thank you.
It wanted to be Tarantino.
Yeah,
sure.
It wanted to tell a story that, well, I mean, most people are smart enough to know you're not gonna. Like, if you like his movies, you can be inspired by them, but to try to blatantly rip off him is fucking dumb. And that
I don't think they're trying to blatantly rip off
anybody. No. All right. This movie, not as much. There were elements of it, but there are movies that do. Like, there's a bunch of movies that try to be Tarantino very hard. Like 2 Days in the Valley is a movie like that. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. There's a couple crime movies. There's actually a whole list.
PTA's first movie, Hard 8, is a clear like I'm trying to be Reservoir Dogs. I'm trying to be Pulp Fiction. but then
guess,
PTA
yeah.
overcame. DJ Caruso, I don't know fuck about this guy. Like, I don't know if I've seen all his movies.
He's made some good shit. He's made some solid shit. I mean, he made Disturbia. He made Eagle Eye. He made
He sounds like he's made a bunch of decent,
yes,
okay movies,
and they're all better than this one.
I mean, I didn't hate this movie. It was
I did not. You did. This thing. I had such high hopes for it. Anthony has told me for years how great this movie is, and I respect Anthony's opinion on things because we have a lot of the same of them. So I was just like, what is going on here?
I totally get what you mean by if I saw this when it first came out, this would have definitely been like up my alley. This like the crime shit, the drug shit.
Movie.
Like,
it's
I
a crime movie.
It was seemed
cool.
edgy. So like 2002, I bet I
want to cry right now.
Yeah,
because this felt like a not as good Train Spotting. Like splashed with like Pulp Fiction or like
that's what I was thinking.
Dog.
I was like the whole scenes where they're showing like the whole drug addict portion of it and it's explaining why he's there and like what he's doing. I was like, not only have I seen this before so many times by now, but it's not done that well. Like it's not grabbing me. It's not gripping me.
What have you seen? What do you mean? Like what has this
the whole drug addict thing, like Train Spotting, Requiem.
It's not about drug addicts. It's not about drug addicts. This is about,
I mean, the first 20, 30 minutes is
started
all about
with that feeling though.
Sure.
It felt like a drug
and luckily
movie.
you didn't shut it off when you said you did, and you got to see the development of what the movie's actually about. It's not about drugs, it's not about the drug addicts. It's about him and his story. He is a drug addict, but it's not about the drugs or the drug addict. It's about him and ultimately a revenge story.
Yes,
that's where it started changing on me a little bit, because at first I was a little
in a
bit
good way or a bad way.
In a good way. In a good way.
Thank God.
Because at
Ray,
like I said
they
up
hate
first,
the movie.
Because my words were either I can't decide between convoluted or complex, because it could have a complex plot.
Well, complex
and there was a lot to it.
Complex is a good word to say. Convoluted is a bad word.
Exactly. That's where I'm on the fence with that. Like, I can't really, like, this is an okay movie for me, I guess. It's there were some cool aspects to it, but then there were other stuff that was kind of like, I don't know if I need this. But
like what didn't you need?
I think the ending I thought was kind of lame. Like, I feel like it could, if we're just gonna
like the very end where he walks away, or like what happens before that, like with the whole like getting his revenge.
I guess I liked the revenge part.
Yeah, that was the best part of the movie.
That seemed clearly necessary. But after that, the whole Mexican gang part, like, that didn't seem like it was needed or fit at all. And how he got shot, and then his friend saved him, and then he threw his trumpet into the fucking
I'm a huge Skarsgård fan. That Skarsgård dude, but I hated him in this movie. I hated him so much. I hated that he got a tattoo of that Kilmer, and I hated that he wanted to be his friend. I hated all that. It was.
I like that guy. I like those characters.
I don't know, man. Maybe if I liked the character more, I would be in with it. But that was the thing. Then none of the characters developed enough to like want to root for them or against them.
I didn't feel the feel.
What character did you need more development? I think that Val Kilmer was developed enough. I think there was plenty to go with. What else did you need?
I think that the voiceover was a little much. I feel like they put that in after because they realized they needed it, which I kind of hated. The burning building in the beginning with him playing trumpet, that was pretty sick because I was pretty like, oh, well, what's this?
That was interesting.
That intrigued me. That intrigued me real hard.
Visually, the movie didn't grasp you?
It was okay. Looked a little underwhelming, a little cheap, little like they probably should have got better locations. That's the thing, Anthony. When I say
LA, it was LA, and there were great locations in LA. They were great locations, great views.
They were all right.
What? So you guys are saying that because you guys saw this too late in life, and you saw other better movies before this that in your eyes emulate whatever you want in this movie better. That's why you didn't like it, but you both agree that if you watched it in 2008, you probably would have liked it.
I mean, that's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
That's a pretty fair assessment.
Let's see with you there.
My movie criteria was different back then. Like, I was still like learning things that I liked in movies. Now I know things I like, and I know things I don't like. Dude, this is a podcast. We talk about movies. You don't got to get mad. Like,
you gotta just
defend it. Just defend your choice and convince me otherwise.
There's no.
We've all been here.
Kind of made up your minds about this.
We've all been in this position before.
Why?
Yeah.
I just don't.
Remember Cool Hand Luke? Remember Jeff who lives at home? I
Yeah,
had to
we
tell you
all
why-
hated those
Yeah.
movies.
No, you hated Jeff Who Lives at Home.
I like
I'm
that
kind of like, I do respect it. And I'll tell you what, Anthony, I would watch Jeff Who Lives at Home before I watch this movie.
Oh.
So
I'm
I
just
watch a
telling
lot of
you.
movies before I watch this movie.
No, dude, you have said to me that this was not only in a top 10 list you recently made, but every time we mention movies, you have said Salton Sea, Salton Sea, Salton Sea. So you like this movie a lot.
I like this movie a lot.
This
do.
this
I
being
like
in a
this movie
top
a lot.
10 list though of the best movies of all time,
Did you mean that, or
That-
was that a goof?
that can't be. I mean,
Answer
I could
that.
see
Was that a
that's-
goof, or were you serious? Because I
that's-
think he was serious.
It's
I'm
certainly one of
serious.
those. You
See?
can that can be your favorite movie. I don't fault you there, but it's not
Yeah.
like
What was the
best movie
question?
ever made.
Top
The
10
best-
movies.
yeah,
Off the
I think
top
it-
of our head, right then.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Who cares?
it was a vague question. It's true.
Yeah, but there's certain movies you are going to put in that category, and certain movies you're not. You just know that. Like, none of us are putting Homeward Bound in our top 10. That's a given.
I haven't seen that in a
Good
while.
movie.
It might be good.
I mean, great movie, but there's definitely 10 other movies that are better you can think of off the top of your head.
I would like to watch Homeward Bound again and
We could.
display
totally
the
could.
argument.
Dude, those movies were great when we were kids. They really were. The little pug.
Yeah, dude.
Who's the pug? There's no
Fido.
pug in Homeward Bound?
There wasn't? I thought there
was
was a
more of like,
cat, a retriever, and a pug.
Oh, that wasn't a pug. That was more of
No.
like a
Michael J. Fox?
Like a that was like more of a bulldog.
Oh,
Yeah,
Chance?
It's
like an
got a
American
pug
bulldog.
face.
Well, which one was Chance? Was
I just
Chance
don't
was
think you know
the-
what a pug looks like.
Chance was the
Look at a mirror.
Chance was the retriever. He
okay.
was the golden retriever. And the cat
Yeah,
was
pretty sure that was
the
a
cat?
Michael Ironsides.
The cat was Michael Ironside.
Yeah. No, the cat was Sally E. Field.
Oh, bro, you're thinking of Milo and Otis. That's the pug and the kitten.
Oh, Milo and Otis. Okay,
yeah.
yeah,
The fuck
you're
is
right.
Milo and Otis?
He's a little
Shit-
pug and a
that
cat.
Shit, that shit
like
was my
Harold and
jam when I
Maude?
was a kid. Nah, but no, it's like
Harold and Maude.
it's the Harold and Maude of kitten and dog
it's
movies.
A cat and a pug.
Yeah, it's like a
Harold
it's a
and
pup.
Maude.
It's a pug puppy and a kitten.
Cat's 100 years
and
old.
they fall in love.
That is genius. That's a South Park episode right there. By the way, did you guys see the new South Park thing? I watched it last night. It was pretty good.
Streaming
have
wars.
not.
Yeah,
it's
it was
not-
pretty funny.
I gotta watch it.
Randy is the absolute best, dude. He is so fucking.
Oh yeah, always.
He might have overtaken Cartman as the best.
Did
Why
you know
is he
Did you
so
know
bad?
Milo and Otis was Japanese? Was a Japanese? film?
I did. Yes.
Found that out.
So
recently.
wait, in Homeward Bound, what are the animals? It's still a golden
It's a
retriever,
cat.
right?
It's a
retriever.
It's like it's like
Is it
a
like-
golden retriever, like a lab. It's not like it's like a long-haired dog.
Oh.
That's Michael Ironside, I'm pretty sure. Sally Field's the cat, and the dog is Michael J. Fox, the bulldog. And they're trying to find home. There's a second one, Lost in San Francisco.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
it's
seen-
it's
I've
like
seen
a-
both of them.
like
Oh, it's a
bulldog.
fucking. It's not a bulldog. It's a fucking.
Whatever
it's
those
a
are.
fucking,
It's like an American bulldog.
No, it's not. It's a fucking the one everybody hates. The one
Um,
everybody hates.
That is
a
not a
pit bull?
pit bull.
That's a pit bull. I'm looking at the fucking cover right now.
That's not a pit bull.
What do you mean?
that's
You're looking
I mean,
at the wrong thing then.
It's,
No, I'm not. The Homeward
they're,
Bound,
they're
the Incredible
similar.
Journey. That's a goddamn
dogs.
pit bull.
It does have pit bull like look pit bull, but I mean bulldogs look like pit bulls too. I don't know.
Oh
It's
no,
probably-
I guess
might,
it is
might
a bulldog.
Might be
It
a
says
boxer.
It right now.
Yeah.
It's a- It
What
says
kind of
bulldog.
dog is Chance in Homeward Bound? It's an American bulldog.
It looks like a fucking pit bull.
You don't know dogs.
What do you mean I don't know dogs?
Google American
they
pit
got s-
bull
they got
and
similar
Google
heads.
pit
Bro,
bull
he
and
looks
Google
just
American
like
bulldog.
a pit bull, bro.
The head is.
I'm looking at it right now. It
is
doesn't look like a
Similar.
He
Similar.
does look
similar
like a pit
skulls.
bull.
They're similar dogs,
Whatever.
though.
Either way, it
Ah,
doesn't
but it ain't.
matter.
It just doesn't look
Fine.
like
Pit bulls are more like
It looks
shoulders.
like a pit bull.
They're like stockier and shouldery.
You know, the
Shouldery.
little-
That's a
the little-
fucking word,
The
dude.
little buff ones are hilarious looking. Like the ones that are all like jacked, but they're like super low to the ground.
Yeah, those
Those
are
are
looking at
one of those right now.
ridiculous looking. Those are hilarious.
Why does he have so many muscles?
Because those are so funny. All right, Salton Sea. What happened in Salton Sea, Anthony? Why? did
I
you
say
love
we
it so
just
much?
talk about Homeward Bound.
I don't remember it enough.
I'll tell you about Homeward Bound. So there's a
Well,
family. They have
all we
three.
gotta
They have
do
a
is,
dog, a
uh,
cat, and another dog, and they are going on vacation.
When's the
when
last
they,
time you watched Homeward Bound?
I've seen it 1,000 times. I like this maybe even more than my favorite movie, Salton Sea. They go on vacation. They take their dogs to, I don't remember where they're going. They take their dogs to like a farm, family farm. They're running around free. Oh, they're gonna have a great time on the farm. And Chance is like, oh, I'm sick of being on the farm. And they jump over the fence and they leave and they try to find their humans.
Yep. In the Sierra Nevada. I mean, we could just read the Wikipedia. Last episode, you made that approach of just reading the Wikipedia.
I didn't really see a problem with that.
Anthony, tell us what happens in Salton Sea. Tell us why it's so good.
Yeah, we got to talk about
it's not good.
I feel like you're
good.
defeated right now, and you should.
I've
be
never
defeated.
felt more defeated.
You
in
have
my
to.
entire life.
To break out of the defeat.
Welcome to the podcast.
There's
dude.
no.
I've felt that
I'm sick of
feeling
picking
on
movies.
So many episodes.
I don't want to pick movies anymore.
Like, I'll go and then like. I'm all just unenthusiastic.
You made me hate this movie. I don't like this movie anymore. It's a piece of shit.
Jake,
somehow that's how this podcast works.
Jake,
I hate this movie. You're right.
You always have good arguments for this podcast. I feel you always come up with good things.
Sure, but there are definitely some episodes where I've picked a movie that you guys just hate, and I'm
But
just
don't
trying
you-
to defend it
aren't
the
you
whole time,
prepared for
and
that,
you guys
though?
are just shitting on it.
I wasn't
usually.
prepared for
And
this.
don't you like to defend it? Just spit facts, man. Spit just good
Sometimes.
opinions, and it'll be great.
Sometimes it's it feels defeating because
I like doing
there
this
are
podcast.
sometimes where I think you guys
arguing.
like them.
Everything you said about what you hate about this movie, down to the tattoos, is why I liked this movie. I loved this movie. I love the
old were you?
aesthetic of this movie.
How old were you in
I was
2008?
like 19.
That's why. In 19, I would have been like, "That's a cool movie, man."
Sick tattoos, bro.
You're making me
Tattoos, bro.
hate this movie, but the acting was good. You didn't like the acting?
No, I.
What
I
didn't
thought it
you
was-
like?
Kilmer did good.
Val Kilmer was great.
All right. I hated that Anthony LaPaglia was playing just like total cliche and played it too cliche. I think also the other cop who ends up being the bad guy. Those guys, I think, were what I'm talking about the most. Like,
How about
They
the
weren't-
Asian
they
cowboy?
weren't-
Come
hold
on.
listen. I'm gonna go through
Bro,
it. The bad guys, the two cops. Actually, well, D'Onofrio was amazing
Bear?
as always.
The best character
D'Onofrio.
for sure.
The best character for sure. The best scenes for sure. The opening scene with him,
Yeah.
When
the-
they're
with the brain and shit, that was awesome.
Yeah, he's
was
recreating the
awesome.
JFK assassination.
Yes,
with
that was
dubs.
cool. That was
Hilarious.
cool. That was
Wild
great.
person.
And that's
All
why I
right,
said,
fine.
and
Jesus.
that's why I said that there's elements of this movie that really like it's almost like they had it all there. They just didn't. They did listen. I know I've
You
a
said
few
this was
times.
the worst movie we watched on this
It
podcast.
is to me because
Watch it
of what it
again.
could have been. Because of what it could have been. This is my thing. I
I hyped it up too much. That's
I've
the
made a
problem.
movie to where I thought I was making a good thing and ended up being that I didn't make a good thing. So that's how I felt about this movie going. I was like, man, I wonder if it
But
was the
DJ
same way with
Caruso
this
didn't
movie.
think this was a bad thing.
I know, but I mean, I think if he watched it now, he might go back and be like, You know, I can't speak for that. And listen, I'm not saying this is a bad movie because it's not it's not a badly made movie. I just had such high hopes for this. You talked it up so much over the last 6 or 7 years.
you have zero respect for my choices in movies.
That is
Don't-
not
don't
true.
lie.
Listen, I have respect
Zero
for
respect.
I have respect for every single movie.
We
ever
all like
made
Hocus
because it got
Pocus, bro.
made. Every movie that got made, that I respect because they got it made and people watched it. So that's amazing. When we talk negatively about movies, that's only the enjoyment we got from watching it. I'm never putting down a movie totally. Like
My enjoyment was
making
an 8.8
is
in this
what's
movie.
up. Is what's up. You know what I mean? These are just opinions we're giving off of these movies. Like this isn't like I don't hate DJ Caruso and I don't think that they did a bad job. I personally just didn't enjoy this movie. Like that you hyped it up so much and it had great ideas that they just, in my opinion, weren't executed to a high level. Like they were all there and they almost got there every time, but they just didn't do it. It was like, they almost did it, except for Vincent
Like what?
D'Onofrio.
Like
except
what?
for Vincent D'Onofrio. Except for Vincent D'Onofrio. All right, I have to
You're
go
talking
change over my laundry real quick. Give me 1 second. Jake, you talk.
All right. Nah, I don't hate it as much
So-
as Schwartz did. I feel like I liked. I was gonna ask him. Now he's gone, of course, but I was gonna ask him if he saw it more than once. So I feel like I got more out of it the more I watched it because it kind of, even though I think because of the way I watched it, it felt a little bit disjointed, and the movie itself was already kind of disjointed with like how
On
things
purpose, though.
I agree. It was definitely on purpose, and then also the way I watched it was a little choppy. So
Because you
it
slept through
can-
it.
Well, it put me to sleep,
That-
unfortunately.
That is not acceptable.
Partly my fault. I probably smoked too much weed too late in the day.
That's not acceptable. I
was-
slept through the movie's not acceptable. You know what?
I watched it though. I went back and watched it. I didn't not watch it.
This
I
movie's
went back and
about
watched it mostly twice.
this movie's about a guy who
Yeah.
well, I mean,
Doesn't know-
ultimately it's
doesn't
a
know who he
revenge
is.
story about Tom Van Allen, whose wife was murdered by what it seems to be to the audience. She was murdered by. So did you see that coming a mile away when it turned out to be when he got in the truck with the Asian guy and he goes, "You want to meet the team house?" And they go, and that turned out to be the FBI. Did you see that coming? Like, was that obvious?
No, that part wasn't. That part
That was
that,
cool.
that part almost confused me because I was like, wait, what? Who is this? Is that the same guy? I don't know. There was some almost confusion to it.
But watching it
because-
a second time, maybe that helped. Did you get it that time?
Watching it again, then I'm like, well, I already know. So now it's obvious. But I think because the first time through I wasn't as engaged, unfortunately. But that's my own fault.
So it's a revenge story, ultimately about a guy who, and I do think that we think it's that he's his wife was murdered, so he entangles himself in
But we don't know that for a long time.
we don't
which
know
is-
his wife
well,
is murdered for a long time. We know it. We know that something happened to his wife within the first half hour.
maybe half hour. But it's because it's kind of quickly.
The first time that
it's
he
the opening, the voiceovers that I'm either Tom
Yeah.
Tom
Tom,
Allen
my
or
name
whatever
is
his
Tom
name
Van
is,
Allen, my name is
or
Danny Parker.
he has
or
that
Trouble
like,
Boy.
and he's burning in a building.
love-
So the
I
whole
love that.
opening, it's an interesting beginning. But then we learn about how meth is processed. He quickly goes into talking about meth. He doesn't talk about his wife, from what I recall.
No,
right?
no, he
He just
doesn't.
talks
We
about
don't.
meth
We
right
don't know
away.
exactly what happened to his wife. I mean, it's until later on. But I
Right.
mean, it's
Maybe it's one of the first acts.
it's
though, but
pieced out. We know something happened when he takes his facade off and he puts his thing on and he plays his trumpet. We know something happened there. There's a picture of his wife.
Mhm.
We know. I think we see like a flashback of them on the beach right there, and then we see him essentially like crying and shit. So we know something's going on. It's pieced out. It's
Sure.
good storytelling. They don't want to give it all away right off the bat. You don't blow your load in the first 20 minutes.
True, because I think, but to that point, we don't see the Tom Van Allen character, nor do we really realize it's him until he pulls out like the box of shit. Does he look at his ID?
Yeah, his ID's there. He
Yeah.
has his ID is there, and there's a deed for a life insurance deed, the $50,000 life insurance
Oh,
deed.
right,
So
right.
we know that, we know that. Like that, I feel like that was a good reveal of, not reveal, but it's storytelling.
Maybe it just felt that it took longer than it took to get there. Then, unfortunately, because at first, the first 20 minutes, 50, whatever, it just feels like this drug movie. That's all it does is talk about meth.
Yeah.
Until finally,
Which I
Yep.
thought was interesting. Which I
Yeah.
also I thought was interesting, going in back to World War II, talking about how the Japanese created it, blah blah blah. I thought it was a fun little interlude.
I guess what I thought was I
Hated it.
was a little confused at the getting a home and becoming Tom
Sorry.
Van Allen again. I was a little confused by that part, I think. But then I did connect
20
it with the first
20
part.
minutes in is when that happens.
Okay.
It's not that long in the movie before we know that he's up to something.
Felt longer than
That's because you slept through it. And that's
Yeah, I was-
unacceptable.
maybe I was already falling asleep at that point, and then watching it again, I knew what was going on.
So, yes, we learn about meth. We see him in his tweaker world. We meet Bobby Ocean. You didn't like that scene?
That was a
That
good
scene was pretty hilarious. I felt really bad for the girl under the mattress though.
Yeah, good.
Oh yeah, of course.
I was like, "Fuck!" Like,
We
is he
meet
gonna let her
Bobby
out of there?
Ocean, who is this drug dealer because they're out of drugs. They go to this guy, and this is meth too. Where they're doing, I believe.
Yeah.
Which is this is an early meth movie, which is interesting. It's not just cocaine. or like I think that's the hardest you usually get. But this is a good early meth movie. You see
there's a lot
the
of
meth
heroin
lab
movies,
is interesting.
but yeah, this is
There's
not
heroin movies,
Yeah,
but in 02,
this came out around the same time as Requiem for a Dream. I think that was 2000 or 2001, which was a heroin movie, and
but
then
that's fine
Train
because
Spotting was 96, and that was a heroin movie.
I believe before, this is not a meth movie. This is just this meth is just the backdrop of this man's struggle. This man's what he's going
once
through
you
right now.
see that he is a self-proclaimed snitch, that's when you're like, oh, okay, that's what this, and then it changes from there. That was cool.
And then it's kind of a crime drama going on. Right? We don't really know what's going on. I don't think it was as obvious as me. Like, I was asking Jake, what did you think when he jumped in the car with the Asian cowboy and he goes to the meeting and it's FBI? Was that confusing? Was that
no? Well, at first, because the way it's shot is you're supposed to be confused about it. And I noticed that because I said to myself, wait a second, these guys are FBI. When did they say that? And as that happened in the cut of it, I was like, oh, you're still supposed to be like, holy shit, what's going on right here? So that was cool. I liked that. My thing
There's
about
a lot of things you liked in this movie, Schwartz.
And I said that to you. There's a lot there.
You said it's the worst movie we've seen.
It's because it's all there, because it was there, because it's there. It's all the makings of it being great are there. They just don't quite get there, in my opinion. It's not, and unfortunately, what I think it falls on. Okay, hold on a second though. But let me tell you the part that because I do like all this about it. The part that I thought was the only part that I thought was obvious, and maybe it was only obvious because I was maybe looking for it, but when knowing who offed his wife, I figured that out. I was like, oh, it's those dudes, and that's the part that I figured out.
I did not,
but I don't think it was because they tried to make me think that. I think that was just to myself, oh, it's gonna be those guys. Watch, it's gonna be those guys, like being an asshole about it. And it was.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But you got mad at that because you guessed right.
No, I got mad because the movie was boring.
I was actually confused by when we found out, because I thought to myself, I'm like, was I already supposed to know that? Like, because of how the movie was edited, it was very almost non-linear. It almost kind of jumped around in time a little bit. So I was like, did I already know that? Because it almost felt right. That's true. It felt that, yeah, that makes sense once we got there, but I guess I wasn't thinking that it was these guys. That whole scene of how he breaks down, though.
I think you should know it by the time he was like, well, we found a red hair. I think that's 3/4 of the way through. So you figured it out immediately, Schwartz?
I just thought it would be
it'd be fun if this happened, and then you were right and you were disappointed because you were right.
Not fun. I'd be like, it's pretty blatant if this happened, and it was like, it was, you know what I mean? But it's fine because it unravels in a way to where, this is the thing, Anthony. We've talked about movies for casual moviegoers and movies that aren't. This is like, if one of our dads watched this movie, they'd be like, that was a fucking awesome movie, man. Like, great movie, great actors, great story, cool shit. And then Jake watched me, we're like, yeah, it had great actors in it. They didn't really live up to because there's just a difference between people who like to talk about movies and love movies and people who watch them. Like, for people who, and at that time, you were watching it to watch it. You weren't watching it for anything like this. Let's be honest. And at that time, I would have been watching it for that too. I would have been just watching to watch. Like, I was just trying to watch as many movies as I could at that point. Like, I was watching everything. Like, I remember, so I probably would have enjoyed this. I mean, like, that's a cool movie, man. But like the whole thing with the drugs in the beginning, I'm kind of over drug movies. So that took me, I think, the most. Just like a bunch of druggies laying on the floor. The camera pans by them. The fucking cool Val Kilmer characters just sitting there, like looking like the head honcho.
But I think I think that's a red herring to make you think it's a drug movie.
Sure, and I think that took me out of it from right in the beginning, because I don't want to watch a drug movie anymore. I'm over.
And I liked that it became something different, because I was.
It did when you found out he was mindset. A snitch, it did switch it up.
And I think maybe it was just like it wasn't a good setup, or we didn't like that setup, because I'm in the same thought that I was like, oh, another drug movie, great, but then it became more than that, so I'm glad it did.
I think that was the 13-minute mark where it was right after that shot of like it pans past Skarsgård on the floor and then goes up to Val Kilmer. Turn this shit off, dude.
Well, even when we found out he was a rat, he still seemed like just some random druggie. Like, we didn't.
It wasn't until he opened the case and put on his suit on, and then I was like, oh, this dude just was a regular guy, and now he's purposely just being a piece of shit, which was cool. That's fine.
Yes.
That's
I don't
fine.
know if I
Yes.
even realized he
Yeah.
was purposely being a piece of shit. I thought he just
Oh,
became
yeah.
a piece of shit out of like
Well, he
depression.
did, but purposely. Like, he's not doing anything
But
about
no,
it.
I know he
He's
did
like, I'm
eventually.
now
but
gonna
at
be
first,
this guy. Yeah.
At first, I don't think we realized that. At first, I'm just like, oh, this guy's fucking crazy. That's kind of all I was still, I was
Sure.
still at.
I mean,
and of course,
sure,
the
yeah.
wife stuff, I was like, okay, he's crazy for this reason. His wife is probably dead, and then it obviously showed that later. So.
And the whole thing of him going to the bathroom, I gotta pee, and the wife's like, don't be long. I was like, oh, that's not a good
Yeah.
fucking sign. That was so cliche and on the nose. And the fact that he was
That
in
was a
the
little- yeah,
bathroom, like they actually
corny.
showed him pee. I was like, what the fuck? Like that pissed me off beyond anything. I was the first of me being like,
What?
this is too much.
That pissed you off?
It did.
Well, they had to show. I mean, what?
They don't put him in the bathroom. Make him be fucking in the scene with her, get shot, survive. She doesn't. There you go.
I remember thinking
Like,
that.
why is he in
But
the
this-
fucking
he-
this
this
setup,
whole-
the
this-
setup for this scene, I thought
there's
was a
a-
little lame.
Well, in
one
the
of his
end,
major
in the end,
conflicts
yeah.
is, should I have gone and helped her or should I not? That's why
Sure.
he is the way he is, because he thinks he could have done something.
I just hated the filmmaking aspect of him going at a drug deal or whatever the fuck they were doing.
Jack. He's
Hey,
gonna
kid.
get me DJ on the line. We're gonna have this out.
Hey, Schwartz, I have a question
That
for you.
would be
Schwartz.
epic, Anthony. That would be epic.
Yeah, get DJ Cruz.
If
Yeah,
we
finally,
got him
finally we
on
get
this,
the
that would
finally
be-
we
He
get a
just pops
director
up
on
in the
here.
corner. Hey guys.
That would be so awesome.
What's DJ's email? Just text him that. Yo, Schwartz. Did you see this? Did you see this more than once?
No.
Okay, this might be a
There's
movie
no way he's ever
that-
watching this again.
gains from the second viewing. I think seeing it more than the once
Maybe.
because I thought like all these things once they like clicked together, it made more sense and it helped. But like watching the movie, I don't think I enjoyed it as much. Like just as I watched, and then once it all came together, once all the twists and turns made sense, I thought it was pretty cool. Other than I'm not a fan of the ending that as much. But a lot of it was pretty cool. And then seeing it kind of come together once you knew it all came together was actually better. And it's one of those hindsight movies of like, okay, all these things make more sense now.
I do get what you're saying, but I've been watching our movies lately without having a phone in the room so that there's literally no reason for me to not watch the movie. And it's kind of crazy,
idea.
great way to do it. And
Yeah.
I paid attention to this movie really well. And I was, I mean, I literally looked at the screen for every second in this movie because my phone was in the bedroom. So I don't think that that's the case with me.
Yeah.
I watched this movie pretty
Well,
hard.
you said before that you get a lot out of second views. I know you've said
Sure.
that in the
I
past.
mean, will I watch this again? Sure, I'd watch it again. I'd definitely watch it again. But guess because you're saying this more than anything.
yeah, you might get you might appreciate it more. I think I did.
Yeah.
I still don't love it, but
So
Anthony, you
uh,
love it.
at a certain
Tell us
point,
more.
he's talking to his cop friends, the guys that he whatever what's he called, or a confidential informant.
Mhm.
His connects, they tell him that there's some guys out to get him, Mexican cartel, and they're letting him loose. So he's got to go. And then this brings us to a scene which I thought was cool. I thought it was very reminiscent of a Jackie Brown scene where he goes and buys that gun, where he's just talking about all the guns.
That was
Thought it
fun.
That
That
was
was a
a
fun
cool
scene.
scene.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
fun. Especially the
and-
shot when it pulls out and all the whole table's got all kinds of guns on it. That was fun.
That's a cool scene.
That's
He
a good
buys
scene.
a scene. All right, he buys a scene. He buys a bulletproof vest. So obviously, the bulletproof vest comes back. That was one of your obvious things.
Yeah, but I also wasn't mad that you knew that.
Yes,
Because I
we
wasn't mad
saw
at that.
him. Yeah,
Yes,
I
wasn't
don't
mad
think
at
they were
that.
trying to trick us.
Because no, because when he got shot, you were like, "Oh, damn!" And then you're like, "Oh, but he's got the vest on."
So
and
what
which is
twists were so obvious for you?
fine.
I mean, not
just said
twists, but
the,
like
the one twist that I just knew, the one I didn't know, was that who
was
the
that he
killers
was
were.
they were the bad
Who
guy.
the killers were, yeah. And I feel like that was a big thing, and I think that something. I think maybe the way that they shot that whole scene is what I hated most. I didn't think there was any, like, it didn't grip me in any way. Like I didn't really. I hate to say this, but I didn't really feel bad for her because like I didn't care about her. Like I didn't really. I thought he was a weirdo for taking a piss at a fucking in a situation like that. I thought that was one
Yeah.
of the weirdest things ever. Like
It's gonna
when
leave my
he's sitting
wife with
there
these
and
meth heads
that
real
weird
quick.
other dude. Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
That to me is just kind of
You're
shitty
right.
writing
That
right
was
there.
dumb.
Like, why would
That
you
was
go to
lazy.
the bathroom at that point?
I can get it.
Like, there's way other ways you could have had that.
That
go
was
down.
that was one time watching
Yeah.
it. I was thinking, but mostly because you know what's gonna happen. I'm just like, why would he fucking do that? Like, go take a
Yeah.
piss on the side of the road halfway, like when you
Exactly.
leave.
Exactly. Like that to me, that and things like that like bring me out. Like, because those are things that are very important and seem very obviously important that you shouldn't really fuck with like that. You know what I mean?
But there's some really
So-
good. There's some really good.
There are some really good. Any semen. Let's just talk about D'Onofrio. That character
Yeah.
as almost
How about on
every
their way
other
to
character.
before they meet Pooh Bear? There's a car ride where they're talking. I can't remember what they're
Who's
talking
they?
about.
Oh, Skarsgård.
Skarsgård and Who You Hate, and Val Kilmer, Who You Hate.
Dude, seeing Val Kilmer like this after seeing that new documentary is crazy, man. He's really he's terrible now. Like, I feel so bad for him.
I gotta watch that documentary. So
It's really sad, dude. Don't watch it.
it
It's
does
really
seem
sad.
it does seem
It's
super
super
sad.
sad.
That's the
Yeah.
reason why I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was gonna be so sad. I probably wouldn't have watched it, but Val Kilmer's great, and I love docs about movies. So anyway, keep going, Anthony.
They're driving in a car to see Pooh Bear. Skarsgård and him are talking. There's a hole in the ground, and he says shit like, well, he goes, "Why don't you just put a sign on the back to get the or for the cops to pull you over?" And Skarsgård's like, "What, to throw him off?" Like, I thought these kind like these scenes
funny.
between them. I thought the
Yeah.
writing was good. I thought the acting was good. I thought the
Yeah.
dialogue was good.
They were good.
I liked that friendship. I liked those characters.
They're beautiful.
together.
Yeah. I
I
love that he
mean,
got the
I just
tattoo of
didn't
him.
believe- I didn't
He's just
believe
a
it
tweaker.
enough.
They based
guess,
him
yeah.
off of a real guy that they met. They went there. All of these are according to the behind the scenes. They're all method actors to a certain degree, and that's why they built the scenes the way they did. They built the sets the way they did, which I thought were great. Pooh Bear's house was amazing. I thought and just the backdrops in general were really cool. That's why that's why they probably took pride with a big band across their Tweakerville because they put a lot of work into it. From what I've seen, and
There's a great shot in the beginning where Val Kilmer's walking across the road, and in the background just compressed fucking skyscrapers. That was pretty great. That was pretty awesome. No, this movie
and there was
things.
there was a lot of improv. Would that make you rethink what you're saying,
guess,
or
yeah, if
not
there's a lot of
rethink,
improv.
but would that make sense in what you're thinking because of like how you see the acting, or what?
Yeah, maybe it's a combination of that and the fact that, like, I've seen a lot of drug movies and they all portray things in the same way, and I've never really been in that situation in real life. So maybe this is a more realistic interpretation of how these people are. I just don't realize that, and I think it's a little too out there, but it's just so on the nose because it's so real. Maybe that's the case.
They all went and they did ride-alongs with narcotics with real confidential informants, real tweakers, real meth heads.
Because Skarsgård's a great actor. I love him in everything. The first movie I ever saw him in, that I ever noticed him in, it probably would have been this movie, but I saw Garden State, and that's the first movie I ever saw Skarsgård, and I really loved his character in that. So and then he was in fucking Skeleton Key, which he was great in Skeleton Key.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me, but it's Sarsgaard. This is a Sarsgaard. The other guys are Skarsgård.
I get so confused by them.
He's not part of this clan.
This is Peter
No,
Sarsgaard.
he's this guy's just an American dude.
Oh, okay.
He's
the other
not
guys,
he's not like a cousin to cousin to it.
No, it's just a
He's
similar
the American
last
guy,
name.
so they took
but-
away the ard.
He's the
Yeah. No, the Ard's
like-
still there. It's the K. There's no.
he's
there's
kind
no
of an
K.
art in
It's
this movie.
Sarsgaard, not
Dude,
Skarsgård.
He's
Stalin,
annoying in this
Alexander.
Why?
and-
Why
and
didn't you
Bill.
like about him? He's a
He's too
tweaker
much.
friend. He was just his tweaker friend. That they said that the guy that they based this off of was a guy that literally started doing drugs just because he had a shitty family and he loved having these tweaker friends that were they maybe
That is a movie they should have made because that sounds interesting. All right, I'll be right back.
I mean, realistically,
Where are
that's
you going?
kind of why people would get into drugs.
You're doing this podcast like Jake watched this movie.
My body reacted how my body reacted. But I don't do my laundry
So-
while I'm doing the podcast.
They go and meet Pooh Bear because he wants to do a big deal because people are after him and he needs a lot of money and he needs a big score. So he's gonna go do like a $500,000 like fucking whatever deal with this Pooh Bear dude. Pooh Bear is named such because he has done so much crank in his day that they cut his nose off. And they compared it to what's his name? Winnie the Pooh getting his nose stuck in a honey jar. Vincent D'Onofrio plays this guy, and he's awesome. The opening scene of them is recreating JFK assassination, which is another favorite conversation of mine because I love their friendship. When he asks him, "Hey, what does JFK stand for?" And he's like, tells him who he was when he was president and got assassinated. And he's like, "Thanks for not laughing at me." That's sweet, man.
That was a very.
And that's
sweet
why
part.
that part of the ending was tear jerking. You know, he wakes up, he sees his tattoo like that. But I agree with you. I do agree that the ending could have just been done there. Oh no, it was done there.
The revenge part.
Yeah,
what do you mean?
It didn't. Well, no, it could have been just done at the revenge part, but I did like. It was unnecessary. The part you're talking about, where that dude came in, his neighbor came in, and who plays that guy?
Luis Guzman.
Yes, Luis Guzman comes in, and that part was a little, and that was an unnecessary callback to like the Mexican cartel too.
There was
which I think that was
it wasn't needed. And even I don't even think the relationship with the neighbor was needed at all. It just seemed like one of those
fillers,
shoe-ins with like, oh, we got to have a love story like that. It seems like just one of those like requirements of Hollywood movies. Like, got to have a love story in there.
I'm trying to think of a single necessary scene with them.
Other than she was also a device for him to tell the story of his wife, but I feel like that could have been done in several other ways.
Yeah, that's when we hear the full story.
And she really had no character development other than like, oh, she's dating this bag of shit and she has a random kid. Like that was just one of those.
You got me on that one.
In distress, like
she was kind of a damsel. Well, but also it's telling that seedy fucking world where you can't trust fucking anyone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know.
just made me like not like characters like that where I'm like, what does she see in this guy in the first place? Like, why is she fucking even dating Louise Guzman when she's just trying to like get out of the relationship the whole time?
Yeah, like, but that's like
that doesn't seem very charming at all.
I feel like that's like people stay in abusive relationships for a long time. I feel like that's just fucked up. That's a fucked up. I don't want to know. You don't want to know that answer.
Yeah, fair.
Probably. I don't know.
It's just like those situations like
only
that
mildly abusive to me. That's why I stay.
So you relate. I understand.
I relate to the abusive relationship.
Yeah.
I got makeup on hiding my bruises.
She's a heavy hitter.
What about like the nicest person?
What about the car what he thought was the cartel? I forgive. You didn't like that? He has his car following him around this whole time.
A couple of the times when he ducks into the building, the way that was it too. He's like just ducks behind the window of the building and like shoot through the windows. Like,
I don't know if I
come on.
You don't remember
like
this?
That.
No, I remember the car. I just don't remember where that led to.
It ended up his mother-in-law.
Yeah, it ended up being his mother-in-law.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
my bad.
Noticed you looking tweakerish.
Yeah. That also seemed like kind of a random scene too with the parents. Like I was happy to see Arlie Emery. Yeah,
like, yo, come in for like 60 minutes. We'll do this.
Yeah, that was oddly enough 2 main characters from Full Metal Jacket. So cool.
Yeah,
2 of the main characters from the first half of Full Metal Jacket. I guess.
Val Kilmer was in Full Metal Jacket.
No, Vincent D'Onofrio.
I was kidding.
Gomer Pyle did.
Idiot.
But yeah, the parents part, I guess that could have been another device to tell the wife story, but I don't know. The parent scene was just kind of random. There was just a lot of random.
Yeah, you're right. Take out the neighbor. Make the parents seem a little more revealing as to what happened. Yeah. The neiver was unnecessary.
Yeah, and the Mexican cartel scene seemed unnecessary, but I guess that would, that just was another part to add to the layer of this. Even the FBI stuff was like, did we need this extra stuff of like, it just
you
seemed
wanted
like
this movie to be 10 minutes.
This would have been a great short film. No, I don't know. It just seems like I guess there could have been a few things just there was a few things that
Danny
seemed
Trejo's in this
unnecessary.
movie
So
at a certain
Danny
point.
Trejo,
one of those
everybody's
things
in
that
this
aren't as
fucking
bad.
movie because
Yeah.
they shot it in
True.
L.A. and they were like, "Yo, we need you for literally like 45 minutes. Just come in, say these lines. You don't even have to act. Just say them. Everyone else is doing that, so we're good."
God, how scary was that badger part?
The badger scene. Why don't you put,
Dude,
why don't you put your
all
little
right,
pee-pee in the hole?
Let's talk about it. Vincent D'Onofrio's character.
Yeah,
amazing.
we
but
that's
he,
kind of where
he's
we are.
always
We met
he's
him
always amazing. He's just the man in everything. Like he reminded me of the
and went
human
hard
version of-
method.
he reminded me of the human version of his Edgar suit character. Like I feel like if he just had the makeup on, he would have been the same guy, which is awesome. Like I love Vincent D'Onofrio. He's
When
one of the
DJ
best.
Caruso told him about this story, he said, "I'm going to gain 40 pounds. I'm going to tan like it's like
And I'm
a
gonna cut my
fucking-
nose off.
I'm gonna,
his
I'm gonna
nose off for this
legit
role?
cut my nose off. Yeah, that's how method. he was.
That wasn't CGI. That was a real nose cut off.
I love that. He was great. He was a great character.
Yes.
The nose case I love that like little
Yeah, that was funny.
piece.
And how he's always just like,
Yes.
yeah, the
I like
wheeze,
that,
this
yeah.
wheeze
such,
that he
so
does.
creepy.
that's just being a good actor, right
And
there.
you
yeah.
hated
Yeah.
this movie.
I liked that character. Anthony,
Everything I've
didn't-
said,
listen.
you've liked.
I hate this movie because of how much you hyped it up, and I say it's the worst movie we watched.
that's
because
not-
there's too many high expectations that it did not fulfill. So it's my least favorite one. I mean,
Hi.
I guess this is the thing. I would watch it over that one we watched about the family in
Creep.
Korea. No, Creep. I like Creep's a great movie.
The host.
Creep's no, The Host was a great movie. By the way, I watched
Shoplifting.
Only in
I
Korea.
watched Okja again.
That's a good
Top
movie.
3 Boon Joon-ho right there. That movie's so weird and awesome.
Bong
It's such a
Joon-ho.
weird movie, dude. Jake Gyllenhaal in that movie is such a weirdo. I love it.
Who is that? Is that Chastain or is that the other one?
Chastain.
What's the other one?
Oh, it's Tilda Swinton.
Oh yeah. I'm thinking of Jurassic Park. Tilda Swinton's great.
Yeah. Chastain is not in Jurassic Park either. That's Ron Howard's daughter.
The other one. I've
You
never
say
seen them
other-
in the same
when
room
you s-
together.
When you say other one, do you mean redheaded woman actor?
Come on.
Oh,
They,
Amy Adams,
they look the same. Amy Adams does not look like them.
Isla Fisher.
Oh, she's one of my favorites. Is she married to Sacha Baron Cohen?
For like
Oh,
20
yeah, I think
years.
so, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
She's one of my arguments where that Australian women are the hottest, right there. Isla
Oh,
Fisher's
I was
just a
thinking about
simple
this the other
example.
day, and I think you're right, but I don't think it ties with Russian women because Russian women are absolutely stunning. Also,
I don't know. I don't
no,
know.
I'm telling you.
What are
it's
some
opinion,
examples?
Obviously, I mean, I'll send you some. I got some Instagram pictures. I can show
Just
you.
Google hot Russian
I was
women.
I was just based off of like the celebrities we know with the Australian.
No,
women.
I'm not going
Some
off of
good
celebrities. I'm going.
examples
I'm going off of Australians of models too, as opposed to actors. Like, because I follow some Australian models that are just like they put like all these actors you're talking about to shame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Persian girls are the
Yeah.
hottest girls in
See,
the world.
in my opinion, dark features I like better. Like I like brown or brunette hair, or brunette or black hair, and I like dark eyes. But a lot of these Russian girls are mixed too. Like so there'll be a really smoking blonde one, and then there's a equally a smoking black haired one. You're just like, oh shit, baddies.
Baddies, don't talk about Ukraine. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, fucking.
So where
A.
are we in the story? Is where
I
he
don't
meets
know.
Vincent
I
D'Onofrio?
think the Cujo heist.
That was another random scene. I was like, how does this tie
Yeah.
in? Like,
Does
what is
it?
It doesn't tie in at all. That was just like a random drug scene.
Yeah, that another
I
one.
think
that
it
didn't-
led up to like him seeing the neighbor again randomly, and so
I think
all
that's
that
one of
coulda
those
gone.
scenes when you're shooting it and you're editing it. You're like, man, people are gonna really dig this, and you see in the movie, you're like, that was kind of necessarily dumb.
I thought it was hilarious. Bob Hope's stool sample. All right.
It was kind of funny, but it just didn't.
Why would people buy that? He's
Yeah.
Bob Hope, he's a fucking celebrity, man. What do you expect?
Look at American legend.
American legend. You know what it is,
Ugh,
Anthony? I think we
start
figured it
cutting
out.
after
I
this
think we
episode.
figured it out. It's drug movies. I don't give a fuck about drug movies anymore. I just
These
don't
are, it's
care
not
anything.
a drug movie.
But
though.
there's
You
a
just
lot of it
hate
that
the fact
is.
that
There's a lot of
that's
it
the
that is.
backdrop of the story.
And that's what I'm saying right now. If it has to do with drug movies and druggies, I'm probably gonna feel this way. I think I'm out on all that.
I think, yeah.
It's kind of like dystopian movies. I'm out on them too. Like all those like Hunger Games types of fucking movies. Like I'm over seeing our future in sad fucking ways. Like I'm over that. I don't want to ever watch a dystopian movie ever again. And honestly, the only one I've enjoyed over the last 10 years is Book of Eli. Besides for that, they've all sucked. Book of Eli was an amazing movie.
FBI. The FBI scene was another was basically the way of just telling us the real story. That's what the
Yeah,
FBI
that was
Have you guys
So,
seen
it
Smoking
was.
Aces?
I don't think it was gonna.
no.
Have you guys seen Smoking Aces?
Yeah, that's what. It's like the same guy did Domino, right?
No, that was Tony Scott. Domino was Tony Scott. Smoking Aces is Joe
I
Carnahan.
heard he made them.
He did Narc and the A Team and Smoking Aces and The Gray with Liam Neeson where he battles the wolves. Anyway, he made a movie called Smoking
I've seen
Aces,
that
which
one.
is a crime movie that I feel like same type of movie. It's got a great script. It's got a great cast. Like the cast for that movie might be even better than this cast, and it's pulled off the right way. Like that's a movie that you can compare to this. And if you were to watch it and be like, yeah, those movies are super similar, but one of them is really, really good. The other one's a little underwhelming. But yeah, that's a movie compared to this. But anyway, let's go back to the movie because we got to finish the story.
Yeah, I mean, that they meet Pooh Bear. They're doing a deal that we figure out that he's doing a deal with the guy that we thought was the guy, or the guy that we thought he was doing the deal with, this hilarious Asian cowboy in this lifted truck with a mural of him and a wife riding a horse on the side. Ends up being an FBI agent, no Southern accent. That's where we learn the real story that he is. We already knew who he was, and that people killed his wife. We learned the real story of that the people that killed his wife weren't just tweakers; they were the two dudes that he's following, or the two cops that he is confidential informant for. They do apparently they do this all the time where they just are you doing laundry right now, Schwartz?
I have to, yeah. They're gonna dry. They're stuff. Let's fucking go.
You know, we put these on YouTube now.
That's great. I think that's part of why it's funny.
It's like every reality TV show. It's like there's always a scene of someone just doing laundry because they can't figure out a better thing for them to be doing while they're having a conversation. Go on.
Yeah. So the deal is that he's gonna do the deal with Pooh Bear. The cops are gonna come off the books and shoot up the place and steal the money, probably kill him in the process. And the FBI, before that happens, the FBI is gonna come and take them down. That's what we think is going on.
And then this is where you find out that that's not the case, right?
They do a little switcheroo on the way to the deal where his best friend, Peter Sarsgaard,
There you go.
jumps in the car, which I don't know how they pulled off. He was mic'd, wasn't he? So like, wouldn't they hear? I don't know. There was a few times. Listen, this is not a perfect movie. Nobody said it's a perfect movie. No, you shut up. I'm saying it's not a perfect movie. There are parts that even me who loves this movie thought, well,
not top 10 worthy either, but maybe
you not for you.
Personal list is fine. Personal list is fine.
That's my personal list.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's my personal list off the top of my head. Schwartz doing laundry right now.
I know. So engaged.
That's just hilarious.
Who's laughing? Nobody's laughing right now.
I'm laughing.
They do a little switcheroo to screw with the FBI, and it's kind of the last time we hear about the FBI, right? I don't think they come back in any form. This is basically the end as well.
Yes.
Kind of the end. There's like two endings.
Yeah, pretty much.
Two endings and like a bookend. He chooses door number 3. He goes in. Prior to this scene, this was during let's go back to where he goes back to Pooh Bear because he has to do they want to do like a sample first, and Pooh Bear's coming off at 10. This is when we see Pooh Bear without his nose on. He's like painting it. They're coming off a 10-day bender. I think this might be the first time we meet Danny Trejo. Oh
yeah. Wait, how did the money get in this dude's pocket? I never realized
he took it from
that happened.
Immediately when he walks in, he opens his bag up, he pulls a roll out, stuffs it in his pocket, he tells him not to say anything, and they go in the door. Everything else he said about him, he was making up when he was saying you're soft and shit. That's why when
that happened, I was like, how did I not see that? I don't know how I didn't see that.
So yeah, he comes in. I don't think Pooh Bear was tipped off, but I think Pooh Bear is just super paranoid. and he pulls Tom's Val Kilmer's pants down, puts his dick in a cage with a badger, a rabies and hungry badger, and is asking Captain Stubing is his name. And he's like that, and hadn't been fed in 3 days. That and the rabies don't make for a pretty happy badger. And I don't know why he was doing that, but he wanted him to say something. He said some bullshit about Trujillo's character, saying he was Trejo. Sorry, I'm thinking of the bass player to Metallica. He said some shit about him, saying that he lied about him, but luckily he stole some money from him off the bat. So he said he had the money, and he killed him, was torturing him in the background. And at this moment, he was taping a gun under the table while he was doing this other deal. And what? You hated that part, George? Tell me about it.
I mean,
he was taping a gun under the table. Why?
He
Why?
puts the gun under there. You know what I mean? Like
why?
It seemed a little.
I guess they
what do you mean?
Find it. I guess they wouldn't.
It seems a little unbelievable that
they're
it would
not
just be
cleaning
under a table for like a long period of time.
It was like a couple days.
Like no one's gonna just like touch the. I guess I'm not always feeling the bottom of the table, so I don't fucking know.
Yeah, what do you?
It just seemed pretty. It just seemed. Got me the bottom.
How many times are you on your knees looking at the bottom of the table?
Not much. And I guess if they're tweakers, I mean, unless they're all tweaked out cleaning everything, then they would maybe find it. But
it's not that it's so unreasonable. It's just that it's a little unreasonable. You know what I mean? It's like really like
I don't see it as unreasonable at all.
It's a little unreasonable.
He's planning his escape. He's planning his way out.
Listen, when you realize what he put it there for and how it's used, it's fucking great. It's great. But the fact that happened,
you hated
like,
this
it's
movie. You
much.
said this is the worst movie you've ever seen.
Ever?
Definitely my least favorite movie we've watched, except for the movie about the family in Korea.
What family in Korea?
He's talking
Are you talking about Shoplifters?
Yes,
Japan.
it was Japan.
That's what I said.
Japan.
Shoplifters. You said that was good.
That movie was so terrible.
You loved it. Back in
So
those
he
days,
goes back.
none of us watched movies. Sorry. Go ahead.
He goes back. The deal's going down. He goes to Pooh Bear. Okay, I'm sorry. How about this? Why did Little John or Big John come out with the gun drawn to his head?
Little John. Who's Little John?
He goes in to do the deal. He feels underneath. He feels the gun. He knows it's still there.
Oh yeah, because they were gonna kill him, take his money.
Because they found the gun.
Because there's a scumbag.
I think it to me it just seemed like they were just going to kill him and take his money.
Yeah, they wouldn't have left the gun there and let him sit there and be like, "Oh, you know the gun's there."
Yeah, it just
They
seemed
would if they were
very-
just the plan was just to shoot him in the back of the head.
No, he's a scumbag and it was gonna fuck him over either way.
Yeah, they're just gonna
That's
kill him.
Lil Pooh Bear's MO, I feel.
All right.
I agree
Well-
because it was kind of it almost seemed out of place.
If that was the
Kinda
case,
like
he would
pull
have
the gun
reached
out.
under the table and the gun wouldn't have been there, and he would be like, "Dun dun dun."
But they're
That's what
tweakers.
happened.
They're playing that game.
All right. Well,
I don't think they found the gun.
that wasn't conveyed.
You
to
don't know
me.
they didn't find the gun.
I don't know much.
You know shit.
I don't know fuck about shit.
I guess you can make that argument.
Shootout ensues. Pooh Bear shoots Val Kilmer. We know he's got a vest on. We know he's gonna live through this one.
Yeah.
The cops come in. Val Kilmer wakes up. He tells them who he is, which I guess that could have been the device of because what he says there tells that we didn't need the FBI scene to see that part of the story if he was just going to tell him
Mm-hmm.
right
Yeah.
before he killed him who he was, so I guess
Yeah.
I see your point there. Maybe that was a little filler. I did like this movie's characters. I think are the best part of the whole movie. I think every character is interesting, like interesting enough to I don't know. I feel like it's a character driven movie that needs and I think the characters are the most important part. And I like all the characters. I like the cowboy that turned out to be the FBI. I love all his friends. I love the SARS guard. Sorry. So that's why they put it in, because they have these cool characters. He tells him everything. He there's a little fight ensues. The whole I'm out of bullets, blah blah blah. I didn't shoot him. And then he kills him with a full needle of whatever they're fucking shooting up, which just looks awful.
Oh yeah.
And then he unloads the
doesn't
rest of
kill
the
him,
gun.
does he? He kind of just fucks him up real bad. I guess I would have killed him though, right?
I don't know, but then he shoots. Then
Yeah,
he shoots.
then he shoots
Unloads
the
his
fuck out
gun
of
at
him.
him after he almost kills himself.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I was like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming. But if he really would have done that, I'm like, oh damn, all right.
Then would you like this movie? You want Val Kilmer to kill himself after all he's been through?
I don't want him to kill himself, but it would have been interesting.
I'm gonna get DJ on the line.
Oh man.
Get him on the phone.
The bookend of him sitting playing the trumpet, fire everywhere. Well, they needed a bookend that scene, so that's how they introduced Luis Guzman.
Okay, we didn't talk anything about Luis Guzman and Deborah Kara Unger, who made some pretty amazing movies.
You left twice, so we talked about it a little bit.
Okay, well, she's made some pretty great movies, and
I'm not a big fan of hers.
Really, she's great in a lot of
you
things.
love it. She's great in your favorite movie of all time, The Score.
Well, she's great in the game.
Not The Score. The Score is good too.
She's great in the game. She's great in Crash, in Cronenberg's Crash. She's great in she's in that fucking Mel Gibson movie Payback, which she's really great in. She's just a good actress. She picks like these weird, quirky roles, and I feel like this was just like the worst use of her. Like she didn't really showcase anything that she's made of. The character's kind of cliche, a little boring. Like when Luis Guzman
because of her caliber of
him,
actor, you don't think she should have done the role?
Yeah, basically, that's what I'm saying. She's more than just this lady, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was an unnecessary role. We were saying that earlier.
It was just kind of didn't need to be there. But Luis,
but if you get her, you're gonna use her.
Sure.
Maybe it was more flushed out. Maybe this movie was longer. We got to get DJ on the line to figure this out.
Calling DJ, dude.
Beep boop beep.
My second favorite
director from Pepperdine. Yeah. I didn't like her, and I didn't like Louis.
They were
unnecessary.
We agreed
when he comes in,
they were unnecessary.
Yeah.
Do you think that when DJ saw The Departed, he was like, "Oh shit, we gotta have Luis Guzman come in and shoot him with the silenced gun"?
Departed came out after this, no?
That's why they thought of it, because they saw DJ Caruso classic, The Salton Sea. They're like, we should probably put in.
You're saying The Departed
Mark
wouldn't have
Wahlberg.
happened if it wasn't for Salton Sea? Imagine Mark Wahlberg as Pantlianos or whatever that guy's name was. Benatucci, Bedenadero, whatever his fucking name was.
Rigatoni.
Part was a little better.
How about when he was shooting him? I thought that the callback to the kid who was selling him the gun, who was like, "Is it 8?
He sees him in his
or
eye.
is it 9?"
Yeah, that was all right.
Yeah. He goes, "It doesn't fucking matter.
Doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't fucking matter." That was pretty good.
God, you guys love this movie. You guys like this movie.
It's a good movie. It's worth watching.
I don't mind it.
That is not how you started this podcast.
See, that's the point. That's the point of the podcast. You defended it well, Anthony. Good job. Round of applause.
The thing. I would.
I don't think I've changed any of his.
We've watched
opinions,
100.
though.
We've watched 104 movies. I would recommend 103 of them before this one, but I would still recommend it.
You're putting this at the bottom of the list.
Second to last. Yeah.
You don't even know what your list is, Schwartz.
Whatever it is, that's where it goes.
Shoplifters is like number 93 on your list out of the
not comparing them to our movies, though. I get not comparing them to 104, these 104, which are 104 gems, including this one.
You got like
watch Lake Placid.
You got like 40 gems.
You guys watched Lake Placid. That's
watch Lake Placid.
That's on you. You agreed to it.
Shame
on you.
You titled us of the podcast.
Shame on you.
That movie.
Yeah.
That was a goof.
Sometimes we get a goof podcast in there. It's fun.
I mean, we did watch Zombievers.
That was a good goof. That was episode 6-9 during a Halloween month. That was wildly appropriate for that time.
And then we've watched great movies that you guys hate just because you're soft, like Bad Lieutenant or Cannibal Holocaust.
Just because we're soft. Those aren't good
Cannibal
movies.
Holocaust is just a bad movie.
Nah,
Oh,
it's
it was a bad movie. Bad Lieutenant's just a bad movie.
Bad Lieutenant's a great movie.
I couldn't tell you 3 things about Bad Lieutenant. I couldn't tell you who's in it, who directed it, what year it came out. I don't know fuck about Bad Lieutenant.
It's better than this movie.
I could tell you it had potential, but squandered it on like shock scenes.
Is that the one where he eats eggs and that's the climax of the movie?
No,
that was cool.
That's the worst movie we've watched in this podcast. Probably was pretty cool.
You have a lot of worst movies we've watched on this podcast.
Bro, that movie.
You can't
is
just
so
throw that around
hyped up.
loosely. You're gonna
That
break
movie's
hearts.
just so hyped up. Like everyone's like, cool, Luke. Like Paul Newman, best movie, best actor. Like Alison DiBiase, she has like she named her dog Luke after this movie. So I was like, all right, Allison's pretty cool person. I like her opinions on things. I remember hitting her up as soon as this podcast is over. I was like, what the fuck's with Cool Hand Luke? Worst movie ever. This dude's in jail and has a lot riding on it. What's he gonna do? He's gonna win an egg eating competition.
So that was again back in the days where we.
How did he go to jail?
We would watch
He was
movies
hopping
we all
meters
didn't see.
on
I don't
a
know
road.
if I would have previewed that movie before, if I would have screened it beforehand, I probably wouldn't have picked it. But it was still like I like jail movies. I wanted to see it for that.
I mean,
fact, but it
Shawshank
wasn't
Redemption's
like
probably the best movie ever made.
Shawshank Sleepers. We just watched that. That was a pretty good fucking
Great
prison
movie. Great movie.
So
I mean, the
know,
Green Mile. Green
prison
Mile is an
movies are dope.
amazing
Yeah,
prison movie.
exactly. There's some good ones out there. So I thought it'd be good. It wasn't that good. Being it was a classic, maybe we just
The Rock
for us.
is a great fucking prison
Yeah,
movie.
dude. There's some great prison movies out there.
Clint Eastwood
Cool
movie
Hand Luke,
Escape from
not that
Alcatraz. Great prison movie.
The Great Escape.
The
Great Escape.
It's more
I've
of a
never
camp
seen The
than a
Great
prison,
Escape.
but he jumps a motorcycle over Nazis.
Very Indiana Jones like.
It's a fake story.
Cool Hand Luke was kind of more of a camp too, because it was like a prison camp.
God, that
So,
movie was
same,
terrible.
so it's probably the same thing as Great Escape. I never saw Great Escape. Is it good? It's worth watching.
I've never seen it.
I've heard it's good. Steve McQueen, I believe.
It's gonna be dog shit, guys. You know it's gonna be dog shit.
Probably now, and it's probably gonna feel very outdated. You're right.
Well, what's the next movie?
My pick, right?
No,
Not.
you don't get every other one. We take turns. That's
We're
how.
not
You
ping-
picked
we're
the
not
one before.
ping-ponging-
Oh, I picked Sleepers.
ping-ponging.
I forgot. I picked Sleepers.
Yeah.
All right, what's your pick, Jake?
Well, do you guys want a foreign film or just go stay English?
Which country are we talking?
Probably Korea. Maybe
Why don't you
Norway?
pick a different country?
Because Koreans make the best movies.
I mean, that's an opinion and dumb one, but yeah.
It's fact.
I am pretty excited for Boong Joon-ho's next one with Robert Pattinson, Mickey 7. It's gonna be cool.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Sci-fi, new sci-fi one,
Yeah,
Isn't it
whatever it is, it's gonna be
Bong
great.
Joon-ho.
maybe.
Yes. Bong Joon-ho. Yes.
All right,
yeah.
what? Pick them. Name them. Name them. What are they?
I was gonna either probably do The Invitation or Burning.
I've seen Burning, and you keep talking about this movie, The Invitation, that I've never heard of. Is it good?
It's interesting. I thought it was
I mean,
pretty
I
cool.
don't care. You pick. It's your pick.
Anthony, have you seen either one of those?
Nope.
Anthony, Burning's the one that you told me the story about the remember you told me the story back in the day, and you were like, this would be a cool movie, and they ended up making it into a movie. It was about the kid in the house or whatever. The kid ends up like being the killer at
It's
the
a
end. Or
short
whatever.
story
It's a short story. Yeah, they made a movie out of it.
called
Remember you told me
Burning,
to read
Burning
it.
Barn Burning.
Probably.
That's what it is. That's what the movie is, and it's like 2.5 hours long.
Damn, I didn't
It's
think
cool,
you
though.
could make a movie all about that. Two and a half
It's
hours.
Good. It's good. It's good.
I read that short story. I thought it was very
Yeah.
interesting.
I remember you telling me about that, and then a year later, there was like a movie, and I was like, oh,
Well-
that's that fucking story.
Let's watch the movie. I'm gonna make you guys watch that. It's like a crime-ish mystery. Oh,
Who wrote the story?
Who wrote? I think the original story.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
Is this says Faulkner? Oh, what?
Is the original story Korean? Because the movie.
It was
done, so
it was a forgive my ignorance. I'm not gonna go get the book right now, but it was a Asian person. But this is saying William
I mean, I
Faulkner.
saw this movie, and Anthony read the story, so technically we've kind of seen it. Let's watch the other one.
Well, tell you what,
Well,
no one's
your
gonna
pick,
watch from
man.
this one is the
Your
Salton
pick, man.
Sea.
Fake these picks, man.
All right.
I
Yeah,
gave this movie a 7.8, 7.825. That's a high score.
Off the top of my head, I'd give it a 6.5.
That's a good score.
That's a pretty good score. See, I was gonna give it like a 6.2.
It's a good movie. It's just doesn't hit everything I wanted it to hit. And if Anthony would have told me for 10 years it's one of the best movies ever, I probably wouldn't have the same feelings.
I never said it was one of the best movies ever. I just say it's one of
Yo,
my
what's up?
favorite movies. That's all I say. Oh, I'm sorry. Schwartz is taking
Schwartz
a,
has a
Schwartz
phone
is
call now.
done with his laundry, but he's got to take a fucking call.
Yeah. All right.
All right, whatever.
Anthony,
We're
do you
done.
did you want to watch that movie? Were you interested in watching Burning?
I don't give a shit.
All right, because
Hold
I
on,
almost want to
let me
watch it
call
because
you back in 5
Schwartz hates it, so I just want to pick spite him.
No. You can pick it. It's fine. I've just seen it. I've seen it.
It's interesting.
But I've always seen the cover of the movie Invitation, and it's just like it says Invitation. There's people like sitting in a room. And I was like, is it a horror movie? Like, what's going on with this movie?
It's like a horror thriller suspense kind of.
Which one's better?
It's simple.
Pick the better movie right now. Just pick
I would say
better
the better movie is Burning, so we'll do
one.
Burning.
All right, then pick that one.
Burning it is.
All right, watch Burning.
It's the 2018, not to be confused with the documentary about fire.
Not to be confused with anything fire related.
Well, it's fire related, but it's not a documentary about
I know.
fire.
It's just funny.
It just
It
because
was.
on Prime, I think there's like the two different ones, and it's like
Oh.
confusing how they're.
Well, there's another movie called Salt and Sea, and I almost ordered that one. And I was looking at the cover art, and I was like, "Is it like 117 minutes?" Or 100 an hour and 7 minutes? I was like, "What? Don't
You
fucking
think
way."
that
And I-
movie would have been better than Salt and Sea?
There's another one called Salton as well.
Motherfucker.
Like I had it.